With Operation Belly of the Beast coming back, it brought the usual loot that you would expect, with a bit of extra rewards like Arcane shards and much more. Finally, a reason to play Ascension again, many may say, but the focus on today's video is not on them, but one of the 4 Arcanes that came with Jade Shadow's update, Melee Afflictions. Judging by its description, this Arcane looks incredibly easy to understand. Do not be deceived. Right now, we are merely standing at the tip of an iceberg. This Arcane, when one tries to fully understand it, is easily the most complicated Arcane known in this game. If you scroll through the wiki page of Melee Afflictions, you will be bombarded with some of the most diabolical explanation of an Arcane. But fret not, I will explain all of this and help you understand how it works. Starting with the basics, if you were to apply knockdown, lifted, or ragdoll on an enemy with melee when there's a DOT present, all status count on them is increased by 6. Due to this, stance like Clashing Forest is a perfect candidate. Its moves has a lot of method of applying lifted, knockdown, and even ragdoll. And out of the 3, lifted status is easily the best as it triggers melee afflictions twice instead of once, but I digress. So, to understand how Melee Afflictions truly operate, let us start with the first main part of Melee Afflictions. It should be known that without any form of DOT procs on a target, the first main part won't proceed, which means that Afflictions won't proc. But if it does, it will add 6 status count to every existing statuses, including non-DOT statuses. The proc MBD means that it is taking the DOT damage that a weapon applies while excluding all the elemental mods, the DOT multiplier, and only dips main mod once, as if you are treating the DOT like a source of direct damage, but still theoretically a DOT damage source. To contextualize it for you, I will be using a Historic Prime with 46 base damage and no mods. As you can see, if Afflictions trigger, it will deal 46 damage as expected. If I apply this through abilities like Dark Verse, it will also match the Afflictions hit damage with Dark Verse direct damage as shown. By modding some direct damage, faction, and status damage increase, it also helps scale the Afflictions hit into higher values, which checks out in the math I'm showing you right now. And that is basically the first main part of Afflictions. It is essentially the part where Afflictions quote-unquote inherit all sorts of DOT first, and then begin the second step of the process. I know some of you definitely will ask, what is the purpose of this step? This step is to ensure that Melee Afflictions won't just straight up cascade out of control, and to keep the constant stack adding nature of Melee Afflictions somewhat grounded. This step is to seek the average damage between the same status effect that comes from all sources. Say Toxin proc from a primary weapon and a secondary weapon. Assume that I have a Bolter Prime with 50 base damage with 150% Toxin modded and Historic Prime with 46 base damage plus Poison Quill for Toxin procs. The average between them will be 48. Here is the proof of it. This process is the same for any other kinds of DOT except Blast, due to it not able to trigger Melee Afflictions, as shown here. After finding the average for all kinds of DOT individually except Blast, the average will now be added up together, which leads us to the third step of Melee Afflictions, the place where Afflictions direct hit damage is calculated. If Melee Afflictions is a factory, this step and the next one is where all the goods are being packaged into a big box and ready to be delivered. After the Afflictions direct hit damage is out, the usual DOT formula is executed for each type of DOT that exists on the target. To prove this, I will use the same setup as last time, but model electricity on Bolter Prime instead. If you are interested, here is the math. And yeah, that's how Melee Afflictions work. If you enjoyed today's video, I am not done yet. I haven't even talked about what makes Melee Afflictions look insanely overpowered when it comes to damage. Its infinite damage potential. Looking back at the formulas once again, it is pretty normal for anyone to assume that there's nothing crazy going on. But look closely. Doesn't this seem like there's genuine potential for infinite damage? Here is a clear demonstration of what I actually mean. See that? Same setup, but the damage just keeps climbing for no reason. Why? This issue used to bother me a year ago when I made a video similar to this, but no longer this is the case for the current me. The reason why this happens actually came from the second and third step, the place where all the same type of DOT will seek an average and add those up. Let me demonstrate. Assume that a weapon with 100 base damage just apply a toxin proc, and afflictions just proc. On one type of DOT, this part of formula works normally and shows no signs of cascading at all. No matter how many times you trigger afflictions, the average will always be the same, so does the final outcome. But when another DOT is involved, this is where the magic begins. Take the last showcase as an example. 96, 178, 261, 350, 442, 615, and so on. The reason that this happens is because the Arcane itself also take in the proc that afflictions apply and attempt to find an average between them. And then all those new averages are added together to form a stronger afflictions hit, which means that the next time that the second step execute will lead to an even higher average for each DOT type and so on. And here is the math for proof. But still, this is just one of the reasons why Melee Afflictions is truly insane of an arcane. There are still two more elephants in the room that I'm yet to address. Let's move in the formulas again. See the abnormality? The faction damage mods and status damage increase seems to appear in places where the formula matters the most, and this is where the arcane truly breaks. If Melee Afflictions need 2 or more status to have a cascading effect, then both Elementalist and faction damage basically allows that to happen without any further requirements. To demonstrate, this is the build I will be using without any raw or base mods and Elementalist mods, and this is how much damage I deal. This is with a Melee Elementalist plus 184.25% raw active. I am sure that you can tell the difference. Both base mods for raw and Elementalist allows way more aggressive snowball, while either of them will already push your damage way higher, but having both at the same time does allow Melee Afflictions to snowball out of control faster. Melee Afflictions alone may not seem that impressive, but when you understood the mechanism behind and able to grasp why this arcane is truly broken beyond imagination, it is easily a great arcane that cements itself as a S-tier melee arcane, along with melee influence. With this video, I hope that you can now grasp the power of Melee Afflictions and apply it in places where it suits the most. Weapons like Arca Titron, who has a force DOT proc on Slam, is a perfect candidate for a Melee Affliction setup. Or weapons that can proc Lifted, Ragdoll, and Knockdown efficiently are all great choices for this. It's all up to you to discover. And yeah, that's all for today. See you all next time. Goodbye.